Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Donjo number 6-CWS. This is a stainless steel wraparound plate. That's the box it comes in. I have it removed here from the box, and here it is. Small little wraparound plate. This is going to be used for really a deadbolt, is where you're going to see this. The number 6 in the part number specifically means really what it is related to the dimensional properties of it and completely identifies the unit dimensionally, completely. When you say 6, it's going to mean a confluence of all these dimensions, and let's go over it right now. This is going to be a unit that's going to be 4.5 inch tall, 4 inch wide. That's going to be at 2 3/8 back set from the edge of the door to the center of the hole, and that hole will be 1.5 inches in diameter. Okay, it's going to be centered in the height at about 4 1/4, and that it's going to be specifically for 1 3/4 inch thick door. So when you say number 6, it means exactly all those dimensions. When you add the CW, since we're dissecting the part number, I suppose, dash CW, that means you're going to have this recessed area for the flush bolt to sit flush and flat into. Not flush bolt, latch bolt to sit into, okay? The S means stainless steel. That means that this item is manufactured of stainless steel and is in a satin finish. This white color you see is just the peel-away protective film that's covering the brushed finish that's there. And since we're looking at those holes, you're going to get screws for all 4 holes. And speaking of screws, you'll get a couple of 832 flat undercut head machine screws that will allow you to attach the latch bolt directly to the edge of the metal plate via these 2 insert nuts that are here. Now, this sort of plate with the 1.5 inch hole is relatively uncommon, only because the quantity of locks that you'll see, deadbolts that you'll see that will take 1.5 inch hole is relatively limited. There are, I can tell you that Schlage has made some that are compatible with 1.5 inch. Okay, so there's others, however, in addition to, it was the Schlage B100 series, the 400 series, the 200 series, which they still make. I believe some of their current locks will fit 1.5 inch hole. Kaba Ilko, low profile, will work in 1.5 inch hole. I think Kwikset had some as well. You know, I have forgotten more about hardware than most people have ever learned, it seems, and the heart of the matter is this. If your hole is 1.5 inches, this is the plate for you. Now, why would you get those machine screws? Well, quite frankly, you need to attach your latch bolt to this, because the idea is that the edge of the door is most likely damaged beyond use for you to attach a latch bolt to, is why you're going to see this sort of wraparound plate. Now, when I go about machining this and getting it installed, I will, of course, remove the lock completely. I will do a dry fit. I'll make sure that my margin is real nice and tight. I'll make sure that I've got all good clearance of this hole. I will ream the hole out at all if it needs to be reamed. I will chisel the edge of the door if necessary to fit this recessed area down onto the door. And once I've got this nice and tight, I will then do a dry fit on the door with the door in the closing action to make sure that the door still closes. There have been times I've had to get this moved back a little bit. I've actually routed the edge of the door. I've had to ream out the hole a bit to make it still fit, to get the door to close nicely. It's uncommon but possible that you're going to have to do a little bit of carpentry to allow the door to still close properly. What I also like to do when I'm installing this is when I pre-drill the holes for those included screws, I'll put them on ever so slight an angle so that when the screw, the underside of the head of the screw hits the plate, it will act to draw it tight against the edge of the door. I want to make sure that I don't have an arc or a bubble here. I want it to be nice and tight down to the edge of the door, so it looks like a very nice, clean installation. But dry fitting it first, making sure the door closes at that point, and then getting the lock installed is really the difference between someone who's never done it and someone who's experienced at doing it. So jump right to being experienced and do it in that step, and I think you'll experience faster installations, better operation as well, because this material it should be 50 thousandths of an inch thick. Let's test that. No, it's thinner. It's a 32nd. It's 30 thousandths of an inch thick. So that's a 32nd of an inch. If your door is already tight on the margin, let's say there's only a 16th of an inch, you're taking half of that margin away. It's possible that you're going to have a small amount of contact there. So just keep that in mind. You might have to maybe plane the door down first. Create yourself an 1/8 of an inch margin, which would be a normal margin. Then install your hardware, and that'd be great. Or 3/32 would be better, I would think, for a margin. That would probably work out real well for you. Now, the name Danjo is quite synonymous with all things wraparound plate related. And before we leave discussion of the number 6, there's a link below this video to a document called Template, where you can review all the dimensional properties. This is going to be 2 1/4 tall by 1 inch wide. That's not indicated on the template. Forgive me, it's actually 1.1 is what this is. So this will allow for the full width of like a commercial grade. If you had a B400 series 2 3/4 latch bolt, a great heavy duty lock that unfortunately they discontinued many years ago, that'll have an 1.1 wide latch bolt. That'll work with this as well, which is normal for certain aspects, and you could have gotten it in the 2 3/8 backset version of that lock as well. 2 3/8 was far more common, a few decades ago, say in the 70s, I would think, 60s and 70s, where you would have 2 3/8 standard installation on residential doors that would be 1 3/4 thick. You could easily have that 1.5 diameter hole on a Schlage lock, where you've got a big, giant, gorgeous escutcheon hardware on a 5-inch back set for the handle at the bottom, or maybe a keyed lock with a 2 3/8 back set on the deadbolt. So common that you're going to see it in that sort of installation. Now, finally, there is a link below this video to the manufacturer's page, where you can pull up not only all of the Danjo products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full line catalog. However, there's also links there to the subsection catalogs, where you will be able to review the individual product categories, which I think is more helpful than trying to wield yourself through the entire book, is what I'm trying to say. For instance, if you're looking for just wraparound plates, click on that catalog alone, and it's wraparound plates and latch protectors that, of course, Danjo is most widely known for, but they make a comprehensive offering of trim and auxiliary hardware, door stops, pivots, flat goods, kick plates, mop plates, things of that nature, push and pull hardware. They have a interesting selection of security strikes and extended lip strikes. Sometimes you have thicker than average casing, you might need an extended lip strike, and then you can peruse the rest of that information that's there. If you have any questions on the Danjo, this is their part number 6-S or -CW in a stainless steel finish, and yes, it's available, of course, in your brass, your bronze, your dark bronze, powder coated to give you an oil rub sort of look. In addition to stainless, antique brass can be done as well. If you have any questions on this or any other Danjo product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.